When you live in a small town, everyone knows where you've been and what you have done. I've been trying to leave this old town since I...
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Zeta.
And I'm Kelly, and you're listening to
Two Sides and the Truth.
All right, guys, we got a lot to catch up on.
I know. We literally haven't recorded since before Halloween.
It was crazy.
I feel like a whole lifetime has happened since then.
We were talking about what we need to talk about, and I was like, I don't even know where we left off.
I don't even know who you are anymore. I haven't seen you in so long.
I am a shell of my former self. It's been a rough week and a half, 2 weeks.
Amen, sister.
I am exhausted.
Exhausted. Me too.
So I guess to touch on Halloween, the kids, I love Halloween, but I'm more of an observer. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily need to get in it.
And I am a participator.
Yes, you are. And so the kids, I love to go to this one street here in Waxahachie where they do, it's like being in a movie. Like, it reminds you at the beginning of the movie, like Halloween Town. Yeah. Where all the kids are trick-or-treating, or Hocus Pocus. Yeah. That's a perfect one, where all the kids are running around. There's like the magic of Halloween. That is this street. And it's a cool old street that's, Waxahachie's known for their gingerbread homes, which are, the old homes that are cool looking. Well, this is one of those old neighborhoods. And it's right by my house. And it's right smack in the middle of my old house and my new house. And so I've been going here for years. But I guess I didn't know that I'd never taken Zoe, because she went away to college 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of assumed she knew what I was talking about. I was like, hey, y'all, get your costumes on, because she was dressing up, and Zane was, and get your costumes on, let's go down to Harbin and walk Harbin. And that's the name of the street. And she was like, well, what's going on Harbin? And I was like, Harbin. It's just like what they do on Harbin. What do they do on Harbin? I was like, you've been there. Like, I'm just sure she's been there. And then Zaylee called and wanted to go with us. So Zaylee and I didn't have costumes, so we went and bought cute little headbands with bats and stuff. And we're heading down to Harbin. And Zoe still doesn't know. And we pull up. She was like, why are there so many cars? Like, we had to park like 2 blocks away. Mm-hmm. Why are there so many cars? Well, they shut the whole block off. You can't get on the block. And the police are there protecting it, whatever. And all but maybe 2 houses on the entire street participate. And so there's like maybe... I guess there's 30 houses, give or take, and they're just all really cool houses, and they get in it. Like, one house has a projector on the house, and they're playing Halloween movies, and they have chairs. So if you want to sit down while your family does it, or you need to take a break or whatever. And then one year they had somebody that was giving away free hot dogs to adults. Nice. And then it just all kinds of stuff. But every house has a very long line. There's so many trick-or-treaters, so many people go, that other people donate to the homes candy, because so much candy goes to that street. Mm-hmm. And so it's just everywhere. You've just never they had a petting zoo. People putting on shows in their front yard with like sounds and lights, and it looks like a movie. It's really cool. So Zoe, when we got there, was like, oh my God, this is awesome. I feel like I'm in a movie. Like, this is awesome. And so we were there like an hour and a half just walking it and just taking it all in, all the little trick-or-treaters and all the cool costumes, and it was pretty cool. And then that was pretty much what we did. And then I took Zoe and dropped her off at Al's and saw you. Yeah. And that was my Halloween. That's it. It was great for me, because then I went home. And I got in bed.
Yeah, and all the craziness happened, and you were asleep.
All over, yes.
Well, I did not go home and get in bed. I had a wild night. It was a lot of fun, because we went to Al's for the Halloween karaoke, and they did a contest as well. So I went and helped Terry get ready, because I talked him into dressing up for that year too, because I was dressing up. I always dress up for Halloween. I am big on Halloween. So we went, and Terry was the Frankenstein.
He was a perfect Frankenstein, because he's 6'8".
Yes, he is.
And he's built like he's
that's what I told him. I said, this is the perfect costume for you.
It was the perfect costume.
I painted his face green for him, because that's what he wanted. And he had the little, adhesive things on his neck and everything. It was so great. He ended up winning the Halloween contest.
Because he couldn't have been more built for it.
It was so perfect.
Yeah.
And I loved it. He got a little $100 gift card.
Yeah.
And so he used that to buy shots for everybody.
Oh, he did? Oh, see, he's the perfect person to win.
I know. He's the exact person that you want to win. It was so great. It was an awesome night. There were so many awesome costumes out that night.
Yeah.
And I managed to get pictures of just about all of them.
Yeah.
I was pretty excited that I made myself the official photographer of the evening
yeah.
because I got everybody. It
You
was
should
great.
send them to Al for next year.
Yes, definitely
Yeah.
should. I'll put that on
To
the list.
advertise for his costume
It
party
was a
next
lot
year.
of fun. Well, also talked Terry into having the after party of the evening, and so that was a lot of. I invited my friends that were coming out that night, and then I invited a couple of people that were out with us. And I let them know that the code word was insurance because Terry funded the party. And so he's like, okay, so everybody that comes, because Terry's in insurance.
Yeah.
If y'all didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so the code word was insurance, and everybody used the code word. I was very proud of everybody. I was checking at the door. And we had a really good night. I think we ended up having like 10 people over, 10 or
Yeah.
11. Like, it was a good little crowd. Not too crazy, but it was fun.
Right.
It was a lot of fun. Now,
I can only imagine what Terry's neighbors think.
he warned them.
Well, I know, but I mean, just like, the people that come and go from Terry's house, and he, I just imagine
Like,
they're
this
like,
man lives a crazy
what is
life.
he doing? What is going on? Yeah.
He's in that insurance game. Man.
Yeah,
He's VIP. Like,
Yeah, he is. Everybody loves Terry.
It was so much fun. So we ended the night in the hot tub. There was a little bit of drama, but you know what? I'm proud of myself because I managed not to cut anybody. And that
You sound like me right now.
that has been quite the feat lately in my life, but I did not cut anybody. So
glad you didn't cut
I'm very
anybody.
happy. Connie, I got to see Connie. Connie came down and she stayed. She partied the night away, man. Me and her were helping each other out of the hot tub by the end of the night because it was definitely a 2-person.
Oh my goodness, I can't even I would have gotten hurt. It would be another injury story. Yesterday was the 3-year anniversary of my great fall in the driveway where I hurt my ankle.
Yes, the great
Yes.
fall.
Yeah,
Of,
every year, somebody in the group posts a picture of me.
The great
from
fall
that
of
day.
2020.
I may not actually be mid-fall in the picture, but I'm either already on the ground or it's right before, and it's clear I'm going down any minute. And that was just yesterday.
It was really an epic moment.
It was a good day.
It was a you had to be there kind of thing, but
you
you remember it.
Mimosas, gravels, and wedges are not a good combination.
Who would have thought?
I mean, it was funny though. I know.
Yeah, but it was a successful Halloween this year, so I was very, very happy for that. That was one for the books for sure.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so on other catching up going on, I have been living in Dadland.
Dadland. How's that going?
Bless his heart, man. If something can go wrong, it feels like it's going to go wrong currently. So my sister and I, the weekend after Halloween, spent the night at my dad's house, and my kids, 3 of my 4 kids went and spent the night. So Zaylee, Zoel, and Zoe. And Maddie, my kind of daughter-in-law, my son's girlfriend. And so we get there, and we need to go grocery shopping for them, and we're cleaning the house. And we're, doing what we need to do, and we're also having kind of a family time.
Yeah.
And then my son calls me, and he's like, hey, Maddie's at the Morrissey show in Dallas, and she didn't have anyone to go with her because I couldn't go. She was going to invite you, but I found out you were at your dad's. I was like, well, Zoe's here with me. We'll Uber her down there. I don't want her to be by herself.
Oh, that's cool.
So Zoe left and Ubered down to Fair Park, Dallas for my dad's house and went to the concert, and then they came back later. Well, Indy and I are just hanging out and having a good time and catching up, sister stuff, and drinking. And so we were pretty drunk by the time the girls get back.
Uh-oh.
And we're just having a good time. Like, we're just, Saturday Night Live is on. We're singing the Chapel Rowan. We're playing. They got back and we're talking about the concert. So then we start playing all this music from that time. My dad, who has not yelled at me or raised his voice at me, but maybe twice in my life, comes out of his bedroom and yells at us for being too loud. And I was just like, Dad, I don't give a fuck. No offense, but how many times did you keep me awake when I was a kid? playing music really loud and hanging out with your buddies. You're just going to suck it up. So he went back to his room, and we stayed up for a little while longer and visited and caught up and everything. So the next morning we get up, and I get up and immediately start cleaning, and India gets up, she starts cleaning, I make breakfast, like we're just doing all the stuff we need to do. Then my dad gets up, and I'm like, were you a little mad last night? And he's like, no. And I was like, you yelled at us? Well, I was going to get up early and play music loud and wake y'all up, but y'all got up before
Y'all
me.
beat me to it.
And you started cleaning my house, so I didn't feel like I could yell at you. And,
Yeah.
And so, we had a good time and everything. And what Dad had said to me, he had to put his cat Bella down the Friday before this last one. So the day before we came, he had to put his 25-year-old cat down. He was pretty upset about it. I know. And so we were sad about it. Although I was like, he posted, my dad, he likes some attention, y'all.
Yeah, I've heard.
And so he posted a picture of like a cardboard casket. And it's like on the back patio and next to the pool. And he right after, and it's in the one that doesn't save. It's the one that goes away. I don't know, reel or whatever. It goes away within 24 hours on Facebook. And then the next one that pops up says, that was my cat Bella's casket. She was 25 and I put her down. It's real sad. And I'm like, why is he putting this on there though? But okay. But then I'm like,
venting.
Well, then I'm like, dude just concreted up the last of his yard. He has zero grass in his backyard. He has a pool and a lot of fucking concrete. And I'm like, where is he planning to put this
He's going to make a mausoleum.
Well, that's where we are. Yeah. And I'm like, so I called my sister. I'm like, did you see Bella died and that he put her down? Because he didn't even tell us he was doing it that day. He was just like, oh, by the way, I saw the casket.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did you see I just heard. And I was like, did you see the picture? She was like, no. And I'm like, what's the plan? Why is it in a casket? He cremated his wife. He can't cremate the cat. What are we going to do with this cat? Am I supposed to dig a grave? In where? The front yard? Like where? Am I supposed to hold on to the cat for a few days and bury it at my house? Like what's the plan? So I start to freak out about what are we going to do with this cat? I get there. Nope. He just put it in the trash.
He just needed his moment.
I guess so.
Whatever.
He put it in the fucking trash.
Well,
and I was like, I'm not even going to bring this up.
People deal with grief in different ways.
It turned out he did have it cremated, though.
Yeah.
The cremation stuff was in the box.
Yeah.
It just looked like a casket, I guess. So I'm like, oh, my God. So then I'm like, well, that's a relief. And then Dad's like, he was upset about it. And he was like, well, I'm just hoping that the dog makes it through the winter. He has 2 dogs, and one of them's 16, which is very old for a lab. And the other one's a lap dog, and it's 10 years old. So it's got a few years. It's in great health. And I don't really see the dog being a real issue. Like, she seems like she's still pretty good, the older one, for how old she is. She has a little hip dysplasia she takes medicine for, but that was about it. Well, we spoke too soon because I spent all day Sunday mopping that house. I mopped the shit out of that house. I mopped it probably 7 times, and it is a big-ass house. But, it smelled a little animalish, and I needed to get rid of that, And the cat that had passed away the previous Friday was a Persian, and as she got older, her shedding got out of control. So the goal was to get rid of any signs of the Persian hair anywhere.
Yeah.
So I worked my ass off. None of the animals go upstairs, so you don't have to touch the upstairs. They just go downstairs.
Oh, that's good.
So I clean. My sister cleans, and then we leave. And then I'm at work on Monday morning at 10 a.m., and my dad texts me, and he sends me 2 texts, but I see the first one, it's like on your window. Mm-hmm. I see the second, text first, and it says, I need help. So instantly, I'm thinking something's happened to my dad. He's fallen, or something's help. Why is he texting me, I need help? And so I'm kind of start to freak out. I open it up, woke up to Dolly, the dog, had shit everywhere. It had diarrhea, and it had shit from the bedroom into the dining room. Oh, no, from the bedroom, it goes into the entryway. It went into the den.
Oh, my God.
It went to the door in the den to try to go out. It went around the coffee table next to the door onto the rug. It went into the kitchen. Every step is, exactly what direction it went in because there's no break in the diarrhea. Goes into the kitchen, does a circle around the island.
Oh, my gosh.
Attempt to get out the door, then goes into the formal dining room, then goes into the formal living room, back into entryway, back into the bedroom, back into the den, and that's where it waited for my dad to wake up.
Oh, my God.
It must have happened throughout the night. And so by the time Dad got up, yes, part of it was still like poop, but the rest of it is like adhered itself to the floor. So Dad's in a wheelchair. Like, he can only do so much.
Yeah.
So he's going around with his Swifter trying to get it up, and he realizes there's
It's
no
not,
way he can
no.
do this. So that's when he texts me he needed help. So I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this? It's 10 in the morning. I get off at 3. I have to pick my son up, take him home, and then I'm going to go to his house to do it is an hour and a half drive without major traffic, with regular traffic. It's an hour, but hour and a half is average because you always hit something in Dallas. So I'm just like, what the fuck is this? I'm not gonna be home till 10 p.m. I was already exhausted from the weekend of cleaning his house, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm just sitting there. Finally, I was like, I got to just show my boss and ask to go home. Like, I can't leave my dad in this. He can't roll around in his wheelchair.
Yeah.
So I told my boss, I'm like, hey, I need to show you this video. He was like, what? I was like, I need to show you this video. My dad sent me a video of him in the wheelchair with his one leg, barefoot, next to the line of poop. He never put it in the poop, but barefoot because he said his shoe was too hard to get to.
Yeah.
He'd have rolled through more poop. So he rolling through the house showing me the line of poop. And so they already knew about his elderly animals and everything, and that Bella had gotten down. So I show him this, and he goes, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I said, that's my dad. That's right now. That's what just happened.
This is live
He goes,
coming at you.
I'm guessing you need to go home. I was like, yeah, I got to go home. I got to go deal with this situation, And he was like, yeah, go home. I said, okay.
Well, good on that.
So I go to Dad's house, and it takes about 2.5 hours to get it all done. But I get it all done, and I get it.
You're a saint. You're a saint of a daughter.
I told him, I said, this is what love looks like, Dad.
Yes.
And there was major storming and like tornado watches and everything going on. So I'm like trying to beat that to get home. So I'm just like cleaning. And it starts raining, and his wheelchair had gotten poop on it, like on the wheels.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how to clean that out. Like, it's treaded,
Yeah.
So it starts raining pretty good, and I just put a towel over the top of it, and I go in the front where in the street, and I just start running up and down the street with this poop wheelchair trying to get it off. I'm like, I know the neighbors think I'm fucking insane. I don't know what else to do.
I am, guys. I'm sorry.
I mean, if you don't even know what's going on inside this house. So I get it all done. I'm like, Dad, I can't come back till Friday. So like,
Hold it down.
oh, I got pumpkin for the dog because apparently they eat like a little, not a lot. You're supposed to only give them a little bit of pumpkin from a can. It stops them up. So I was thinking that might solve the problem. It wasn't as bad another day. Like, that's when the shit released. But at that point, she never again was able to control her bowels.
Oh, no.
So Dad, for the week, would clean it up the best he could. And he did clean it up, but it was not. It was horrible. I could smell it when I came in. You could see little bits. And he had to put her down. He had to go back to a week to the day later. He put the dog down.
Oh my God, he's had a rough couple of weeks.
I
man.
mean, what else? And so then I'm like, all right, I'm coming back over, Dad, this weekend. So I go back over this weekend, and I spend all day Saturday with him. I get there early. I clean his house first. I'm like, let's go to lunch and go grocery shopping. Let's get you out of the house, and let's do that and see what we can do. And he was like, okay. So, he watched football all day while I cleaned. And then when I was done, and it smelled so much better. Oh my God, we're 2 animals down. At least the house smells better. And so I'm like, Dad, we got to get this fixed, And so I did that. And then I'm like, all right, let's go to lunch. And it was really like a late lunch. It was like 3 by then. And I was like, let's go to lunch, and then we'll go grocery shopping and then come back. And he's like, okay. Oh, and I made him chili, and he was pissing me off because he was snapping at me because he was in a bad mood because he's upset about things. And so I put tomato. He hates tomatoes. So if I can put those tomatoes in his chili.
That is the level of passive aggressive that I strive to be.
Well, let me tell you. This man, he says to me, my dad was about 6'8" in his prime, and he played college ball. And he has had, when I was 9 months pregnant with my now 27-year-old, we had the same size stomach. Like, he's not a little man, okay? And particularly his gut, right? And he says to me, I kind of got on to him because he's talking about the ex-girlfriend and crying about the ex-girlfriend and da-da-da-da-da-da. And then he's talking about this other woman that he's friends with, and that he's just not real attracted to her because she's round. Well, I said, Dad, I got news for you, bitch. You're round too. I'm a little round. All your kids are a little round. I mean, the girls.
Not want to be throwing those stones in this glass house we all live
Dad,
in.
you are 75 with one leg.
Might be time to lower the bar just a smidge.
I was like, and I'm sorry, but the last one wasn't super thin. I mean, she wasn't a big woman, but she wasn't super thin. She looked like a woman her age. She didn't look bad, Well, honestly, her tits were a little big for me.
Your dad.
And I was like, and Indy and I both have really big titties. So I had to laugh.
Read the room.
I said, Dad, okay, I just want to be clear here, all right? Because when he met my mom and my stepmom, they looked like models. They were tall, very thin. They did model. Tall, very thin, blonde, 70s, tiny women.
Yeah.
And he clearly had a type.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're not going to find a Cindy or Sherry running around. Cindy's and Sherry's don't look like Cindy's and Sherry's anymore. They're dead. Like, they don't make them like that in your age group. You're going to have a lot more money to be pulling that kind of ass. And he was like, it's not about that. It's just about companionship. I said, then why do you care if they're round or they have big titties? I was like, I cannot believe we're having this conversation. So I'm texting my sister this, and she's getting fucking pissed. Like, she wants me to go off on him, and I'm not.
Right.
Like, come on, pick your battles. He has no fucking clue. And so I'm just like, but I'm getting mad, and that's when I put the tomatoes in the chili, because he said that. I was like so annoyed with him. I was like, I'll show you. I wasn't going to put this tomatoes in here, but here we go. Normally I'll puree them for him.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, you're getting the whole fucking Rotel can, okay? And you're just going to have to pick through that shit. Yeah, bless his heart. So then we go to lunch, and he told me he has not been out to eat in a year.
Oh, wow.
His girlfriend, for the last year that he's been in that wheelchair, has not take him to dinner. My dad likes to go out to eat, so that's weird.
Yeah.
So we went to have lunch together and had a good time, and
That's good.
and then I took him grocery shopping. And did he break down crying 4 times in the grocery store? Yes, he did. I bet people thought I was an abuser.
I'm so sorry. It's not funny, but I laugh at pain.
I was like, what the fuck is next? And so I take him back home and unpack his groceries. And at that point, I was there from 9:30 in the morning till 8:30 at night. I didn't get home till 9, something like that. And it was exhausting. I love my dad, but that was just exhausting. But he was funny because he loves social media. And he came across a recipe for this specialty shrimp sandwich thing, and he sends it to me. Can you make that for me next time you come over? I was like, yes. This round, big titty bitch can do that. Oh, Lord, help me, Jesus. So, yeah.
Bless his heart.
That's what I've been doing. It's been great.
I love that for you. I love that for you.
Do you know how many times I've mopped his floor now?
I don't. No, I
Do
lost
you
count.
have a clue?
I lost count.
I have been through 5 large bottles of cleaning fluid in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. I know.
Well,
Don't you wish you could be me?
let me tell you about my life.
Yeah, tell me about what you've
Okay,
done.
so I have been on what I have called McKenna Watch this past weekend. So I went to Greenville. Well, actually, I didn't go to Greenville. Well, I did, but my mom lives in Greenville. My aunt also lives but they live in Bonham. But I call it Greenville because I just generalize that's where my family lives. But my Aunt Jessica and her husband Alan have a farm in Bonham. And so I went to the farm and I was there for a week because my aunt took a mental health week. She had to get she had to go to the dentist. She had to get a couple of, doctor's appointments in that she has been putting off because she is a very busy woman. She is an attorney, and she just puts herself last. And so she put herself first this past week.
That's good.
And so she has my cousin who is 19 and she lives at home still. She is special needs, and so they get government funding and everything to have someone come to the house and help her because she needs help.
Yeah.
She basically has to have someone, kind of follow her around and make sure she does what she needs to do and doesn't do what
She's
she doesn't
safe.
need to do.
Yeah.
She has to have eyes on her. And so I'm going to be that person for them whenever I can because I'm not working during the week now. But that's a long trip for me.
Yes, it is.
It's not something that I could do every day.
Yeah.
And so since they needed me this week, I just went and stayed the week. And, it was fun because I haven't seen my family in a really long time.
Yeah.
And I haven't spent a lot of time with them. I used to spend a lot of time with them because I used to do this job for them when I lived in Greenville.
Yeah.
So I used to have a lot of time with them. So that's another reason why McKenna really relates to me really well because, she sees me as a safe person and also I'm her fun aunt.
Yeah.
So it's like I can get her to do a lot of things that other people can't. Or it's a fight or it's more difficult.
She's spunky.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
She's fun. But she really needs, that's something that she really needs. She needs somebody who can watch her, keep her safe, but allow her to experience different things in life to grow up because she's still very mentally young.
Yeah.
So she still has a lot of growing up to do. And so that's where I stepped in the picture this week was to help her out, to watch her and to help out, my aunt, because that's what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to be that person once I get my schedule going.
Yeah.
And so I have a couple of highlights from this week because it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. So I got down there on Monday was the first day, and I took her because what I usually do on my schedule on Monday is I go grocery shopping. And so I was like, okay, well, we're going to go grocery shopping. So I got her up and we went grocery shopping. Well, she wanted to go to Taco Bell because the first thing she told me about was this cute guy that she saw at Taco Bell that worked there.
Well, priorities.
I know. I was like, girl, I get you. Okay,
Yeah, let's
we'll
go.
go to Taco Bell for lunch. So we go to Taco Bell for lunch, and cute guy's not working, sadly. But I was like, hey, we're still at Taco Bell, so that's a win.
Yeah.
So we still ate. And she is so funny. She's my little watchdog because I've trained her well. And she has too much situational awareness sometimes. And so I'm going up to because they didn't give us the kind of hot sauce that she liked or she wanted. And so I went up there to get it because it was like behind the counter kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm waiting on that. I get back to the table and these people had walked in like to order, but they were waiting on me because the lady was actually getting me what I had asked for.
Yeah.
And so I get it. I turn around and the people are walking out. And I was like, that's weird. And so I go back to her and I was like, what the heck happened? Because she was standing up there with me. She doesn't, everywhere I go, she goes too.
Yeah.
And especially out in public like that. She keeps her eyes on me, which is good because that's what I'm having to do for her. So I'm glad that she's doing it. And so she's like, those people were looking at you and I knew they were talking about you because they were pointing at you. And I was like, what the heck are they doing looking at my cousin like that? And so she showed me that she pulled out her knife, had it down.
God.
I was like, McKenna, I appreciate this situational awareness and that you were looking out for me.
She might have spent a little too much time with you.
And that you saw what was going on because but we're safe. That happens a lot. People will point at me because I'm covered in tattoos.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you have to kind of just realize that that's probably what they were talking about. They were just commenting about my tattoos and didn't say it to me. They were just talking to themselves about
and
it.
It doesn't even mean it's bad.
Yeah, that's what I told her. I was like, I appreciate you having my back. I was like, but you don't have to just jump to pulling out the knife, okay?
We don't have to cut people.
You might just need, if you see unwanted contact, then go for it, girl. All right, but just pull it back just a little bit. But it was so funny. I loved it because, and I also was helping her because she loves the knives that she has. She got from the last Christmas that we had because that's what I brought to family Christmas. I brought knives.
So you're arming the family.
Yes. Okay. And so I was so funny when she opened that up because she fought for them too because she wanted them.
Yeah.
And her mom was like, oh my gosh, she's giving McKenna a knife. And I was like, well, you know what? It's not a bad thing as long as you are safe about it.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to be safe with it and how to use it. And then appropriate reasons to use it.
No more pulling it out in Taco Bell.
Exactly. I was like, this is a learning moment.
Yes.
And then I also told her that if you have a knife, you need to, and you can open it and close it. Obviously, you need to be able to do that safely. Yeah. And she can do that. But then also, I was like, you also need to be able to open and close it with one hand. I was like, because you might not always have that other hand. You need to be able to do it safely with one hand. So you need to practice that. So she was practicing that all week. And she would come up and show me how she could do it. And I was like, awesome. So, because she was having a hard time closing them with one hand, because it is difficult.
Yeah.
You have to practice.
I can barely do it two hands. I'm
I
so
know.
afraid I'm going to take a fingertip off.
I know. And so she also showed Jessica and Alan. And they
She's armed and ready to go.
And I was like, hey, we have been discussing knife safety, and she understands the reason that it's, it's good to have a knife. And one time we went out, so on Tuesday when we went out, I took both of them, her and her sister, Sophie. Sophie is in high school. She is 16, 17, but she's now she just started doing it online. So she, was there during the day with us. So I took her and
also taught her knife safety.
Well, we were getting ready to leave, and McKenna had come into the kitchen, and she was like, all right, I'm ready. I was like, okay, good. You got everything you need? And she's like, yeah. I said, you got your knife? And she said, yeah, I actually have two of them. I was like, and I laughed because that's usually what people do to me, because I have two knives on me most of the time.
Yes.
I at least have one. I probably have more than that.
You are Rick's uncle, the one that taught everybody how to knife fight. Remember the story at the funeral?
I love it.
That's who you've become.
So I was like, okay, cool. Then a little bit later, Sophie walks in the kitchen and she's like, okay, I'm ready to go. I was like, okay, you got everything you need? She's like, yeah. And I look at McKenna and I look at her. I was like, you got a knife? And she's like, no. I was like, okay. I was like, if you don't want a knife, that's fine. I was just wondering if you had one on you. She's like,
be a
no.
cool kid.
And then I was like, well, let me ask you this, Sophie. Have you ever been in a situation where you didn't have a knife and you needed one? And she said, no. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm so happy to hear that. That's awesome. I'm glad that you have it.
Right.
I was like, but I have been. And so you'll never catch me without a knife again. And so I was like, but it's okay because McKenna's got you covered.
She's got two.
She's got two. And she said, you have two? She's like, yeah. And she pulled one of them out. She's like, here, do you want it? I was like, you don't have to carry that, Sophie. I was like, but if you want to, I'm always for being protected.
Make sure you explain airports and such.
We've done that. I've taken through the course. And so she's like, okay, so she puts it in her pocket. I was like, okay, cool. We're all covered now.
Yeah,
everybody's
we're
good to go. So that was fun. Well, then Tuesday night, Sophie had a game to go to, and so it was just going to be me and McKenna. And so we were going to go to the movies, but we didn't want to leave Sophie out. So I was like, well, what do you want to do? And she was like, well, what would you do on a Tuesday night? Because we did what I would do on Monday. I was like, well, I would probably go to karaoke. I was like, because Big House has karaoke on Tuesdays, and it's fun because it's a really good time, but it's not as big a crowd as Friday night, and so you actually get to sing more than you would, and you can try out different songs. And she's like, okay, can we go? I was like, sure, let me talk to your mom about it. And her mom was like, that's fine. And so I was like,
how long a drive is that?
it's about 2 hours.
Girl, when you said you were coming to town, I was like, for karaoke? What is she just wanted out of the house? She was already doing something.
That's what I would do. And I was like, if she wants to do that, I'm totally fine with doing it. It's a good experience. She's never been able to experience karaoke before, and she loves to sing. I was like,
you are the cool aunt, even though you're the cousin, but it's really the cool aunt.
So we're going to go. And so we did. We came into town, and we went to Al's, and we did karaoke, and she sang. And she didn't. She told me she wasn't going to sing by herself. She did.
She did.
I went up there because she wanted me to at least be on the stage with her, and so I went up there and sat. But she did amazing.
Okay.
And then we did a song together, and then she made friends. She went and talked to these people that were at the table next to us, and she doesn't have a phone because she's not trusted enough. Yeah. But I got my phone and got their number for her. Right. Because they liked McKenna, and she made friends.
I should have had Zaylee go up there.
It was
her and McKenna
so
love
awesome.
Each other.
And then a guy came up, and because I think it was Tennessee Whiskey started playing, and some people started dancing, and so he was right by the table by her, and so he's like, "Do you want to dance?" And she was like, "Yeah." And so they danced.
She had the best night.
She had
ever.
a Cinderella night, and it was amazing. I was so happy to be a part of it because she had so much fun.
That's so cool.
And then we stayed in town because anytime I come to Waxahachie, especially if I'm freaking driving 2 hours back home, I stay in town. Yeah. And so I went ahead and, just hung out. And Terry let us stay at his house because he has an extra bedroom and he has a hot tub. So she was sold on that.
Oh, yeah.
So we ended the night in the hot tub having fun. It was the best night. It was so much fun.
You're such a cool cousin aunt.
I love it. So my last part is to end. We ended the week really well. Not my cousin. I was with my cousins. My sister-in-law Annie, she was coming into town. She flies all over the place for her job, and she was coming back into town on Thursday. And she knew I was going to be in Greenville, so she was like, "Okay, well, I'm just going to come to you wherever you're at," because I told her I was going to be at the farm. And so she came out Thursday night, and that was the last night that I stayed because I ended up riding back to Greenville with her, and my mom took me home on Friday. But Annie got to the house, and we all got to hang out, and my aunt had made us like some homemade sangria that was amazing. And Annie loves cheese. And so I was like, Annie's coming. We have to do something with cheese. And so she made this like campfire queso, and it was amazing. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Well, you had a fun week. It's almost like a vacation-ish.
It really was.
Yeah.
I had such an awesome time.
Yeah.
And so, and then we got in the hot tub, and so it was me, Annie, and McKenna all in the hot tub, hanging out, drinking sangria, and just having the best time. And Annie told me this story that I was like, oh my gosh, I have to say this story because I don't know how it came up, but we started talking about boobs, but whatever that happens. And so she started laughing. She's like, oh my gosh, I have a funny story about boobs, but I don't think that anybody would want to hear it. And that was in the hot tub. And because Casey said it, and Casey's my brother. I was like, no, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Tell me. She's like, okay. So I had this conversation with Casey the other day. Because she had been gone. She was in New Mexico. She had just gotten back into town. It was Thursday, so she'd been gone all week. And so my brother was missing her, obviously. And so he sent her a text message that said, if Elon Musk spent half the time working on his rockets as I do missing your boobs, we'd be having this conversation on Mars right now. I died. I almost drowned in the hot tub. It was so funny. And then I was like, that is so funny. And she was like, that is the funniest thing. And I literally can't tell anybody because who's going to want to hear it? I was like, I'm so happy that I heard it, and I'm going to tell it on the podcast, so it's going to live forever.
That is so... Rick and I he was out of town hunting this weekend, and he ate a candy bar, and it's called Big Chunk, I think.
Big hunk. Big chunk. Something like,
yeah, and it's like a white something.
Yeah, they're big hunks.
So he said, he sent me a picture of the package, and he said, have you ever had a big chunk?
A big hunk.
A big hunk. And I said, yeah. And he goes,
sure have.
He goes, yeah. It's white, and it's real long. And I said, yeah. I've had your dick. What are you talking about?
I've had your big hunk, your big chunk.
He responded back, LOL, I can't stop. Shut up. That just happened yesterday.
I love it.
Sorry,
we've had fun times. Man,
I went out yesterday to the grocery store, and I went shopping and everything, and I wore my hat that I got at that festival that says, sorry about my husband. I got so many fucking compliments. And it was mainly the men. And one guy at the grocery store with his wife, he goes, what'd your husband do? And I said, he's just an asshole. She goes, him too. I was like, they are. It's what they do.
It is a profession.
Thought it was funny.
I love that. All right, well, our last thing for catching up is I wanted to remind everybody that we are having Ladies' Night on the Square this Thursday night, so November 14th. And it starts at 5 o'clock. So all the shops downtown Waxahachie are going to be participating. There's a few of them. So we're going to meet at Atomic Vintage and Black Label Vintage. They're right next to each other, right across the street from Bittersweet Bakery. That's where we will be at 5 o'clock. And then we are going to walk around to the different shops that are participating to shop and to drink. That are the two things of the evening. Okay.
Yeah. And it's not a real long thing, so don't wait till 7.
No,
because you won't see us.
If you can be there at 5 o'clock, and we're going to start having drinks at Atomic Vintage, Black Label Vintage, and then we're going to go from there. So I hope to see you there.
Yeah, come and see us.
Hey, Zeta, you know what time it is?
What time is it, Kelly?
It's time to pop the top
on the topic of the day.
All right, so for our topic of the day today, we are going to be discussing different types of parasite-host relationships. So a parasite-host relationships is a complex, antagonistic relationship between two organisms where the parasite lives on in the host and harms it. Okay, so now some relationships are not parasite hosts. Some of them are just like are a symbiotic relationship where both things.
These are all really big words.
I'm sorry. Let's break it down. Well, two things, they work together. Okay, they're both giving and they both take, and so it's a good relationship.
Right.
But sometimes it is not a good relationship because the parasite is on the host and it is just draining. It's just taking things from that frame. So different things in that can be cohesive with relationships if you think about it, because sometimes you have a relationship that's very healthy and both people are gaining from it and they're both giving into it. But sometimes you have relationships where one person is giving and the other is only taking. And that is where the parasite host relationship comes into play. And so I was wondering if you can think of different things in relationships that would play on that.
I mean, yeah, a lot. I think the first time that it becomes evident is when you're growing up and you have friends, and you realize some people are not your friend because they want to be your friend, but because they want something from you, which is not uncommon when you're a kid because you don't really know always better. Mm-hmm. You don't always make the right decisions. So like one time I had a little friend that I made when she had moved to where I'm from, when we were young, like 14, and immediately started hanging out with me all the time, and whatever, I'm friendly, whatever. But then later I found out she stopped hanging out with me after so long, and someone had told me that she told them she hung out with me first when she moved there because she thought I was rich. Because it was a good concrete year that year. So yeah, we had a pool, we had a nice house. We were doing very well at the time. I've lived a weird life. I've been rich and poor. My parents have been rich and poor. We've been all over the place. And that's why she wanted to be my friend. And I'll say it's a parasite. So she was always wanting to do everything I was doing and go everywhere I was going. And I was doing it because she didn't have friends and she was new to town. And I'll introduce you to everybody. And then I found out later she just thought, okay, this is the richest kid in the school. And I wasn't. Don't get me wrong. That was just her perception of it.
Yeah.
And that's who I want to hang out with. So there's a parasite. That's one. But then you have the parasites that are taking your emotions, taking way more from you.
Yeah.
It could be financial abuse. Yeah. It could be mental abuse. It could be like everything I'm mad at, I take out on you. And I think that you see that a lot whenever somebody feels like you're their safe person, but they're not your safe person back. Mm-hmm. So, they come home after having to behave all day, as you might want to put it, and they can't lash out at people all day, and then they come home and go off on you, and it has nothing to do with you. It's just you're going to catch they take it down, and they suck all the goodness out of you, and you take it. For a long time, you're going to take it because you love the person. Mm-hmm. But I could go on and on, but you go ahead, or I will keep going.
No, I think that it's interesting to kind of get into and really break down the different relationships in your life to see, because sometimes for me, it's really hard for me to, really get on that level with people, to have a lot of friendships, because, it's just a difficult thing for me. It takes a lot out of me. But sometimes I'll find myself in relationships like that without even realizing it. Yeah. And that's how it happens with me, because when I do genuinely care for someone, it's almost like love is blind to me. I love you and you're my friend and I care about you and I'll do anything for you.
Right.
Because I do have that people pleaser part of me. I am a submissive person at heart. But once people learn that about me, once they're like, oh, Kelly, it's hard for Kelly to say no.
Yeah, they'll take advantage
That's
of
it. Depending on the person, that can be a very dangerous thing.
People do it to me too, and I don't consider myself submissive, but I am a giving.
Yeah.
And they know it. And so, and not just monetarily, but I'll include you. Mm-hmm. And you know this, but I've been burned on it lately, mm-hmm. and lately I've not been giving it back, and I've been doing my own thing, and it's not necessarily one person, but it's just a combination of I needed somebody to fill my cup back up, as we talked about it before.
Yeah.
So friendships was the first thing that popped in my brain, but it's the more recent issue to me. It's not
Oh,
recent.
so that's
but,
what's it. Yeah. But I get it.
that's what, we've talked about before. You invite somebody to come along, you invite someone to the party, you might want to say, and then they don't want to help clean up from the party, or they don't want to, buy anything for the party, or they don't want to help plan the party. All they want to do is show up and be entertained. Well, then if that's what you're coming for, then you can pay.
Right.
I'll charge you.
At least leave a tip. Gosh.
Yeah, something. But I like groups. I like people. I like hang out, whatever the case is. But I catch myself being the only one making the plans and doing the things. Yeah. And I kind of got burned out and decided to kind of regroup and refocus on my family at home. Yeah. It's the best way to put it, because I just wasn't always getting it reciprocated. Yeah. But I think I don't know that they're all parasite related.
No. Well, see, the thing is, they're different. Whenever you have two things that have a relationship and they both benefit, that's mutualism.
Yes.
And that's what you want to strive for.
Yes.
You want to have that type of relationship where you're both getting something from it. Y'all might be giving at different amounts in different places.
Right.
But when it all comes down to it, you're both mutually gaining, existing, happy.
Right.
For instance, for me, my job situation has changed recently. And so there for a while I was kind of in limbo about what I was going to be doing. I still wanted to feel like I was contributing to the household that I live in, because I live with Dante.
Yeah.
Dante likes to be the man of the house. He likes to be the provider. That's his love language. Right. And so I do as much as I can in my love language. My love language is I nest around me. I like to clean. That's my happy place. I like to keep things in order. And so that is what I provide for him in the house. Because I just keep things.
You caregive.
Yeah, that's what I do. I like to do that. I would do it for myself.
I'm the same way.
And so I do it for him. And so he takes care of everything, and he takes care of me. And I like to pay for my own bills. It's like, I'm going to still work. I'm going to still do everything. I'll take care of me. I'm an independent woman. But he likes to take care of me on the home front of, he takes care of the bills. He does this. Right. He wants to keep me happy. So we have to find a level ground to where I'm still allowing him to feel the love that he wants to feel and how he wants to show it. But I'm also still being happy within myself, setting boundaries for myself, which is I still want to have a job. I still want to contribute. Right. I still want to do X, Y, Z. And so we have found that little special spot where I have, I know that he always has me taken care of. Like, I have one of his freaking credit cards in my, he's like, anything you need, babe. But so I have that security, but I still give what I need to give, which is I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to, make sure that all of your clothes are clean and ready for you to go to work in the morning. And that, all the dishes from the day are tidied up and put away.
Like acts of servitude is a love language in that degree for you.
And so we have that. I feel like it is a mutualism relationship.
Yeah, but there are plenty out there that are not like that.
Yeah. I've had a lot of them. This is the healthiest relationship that I've ever had in my entire life. Yeah. And it's now the longest relationship I've ever had in my entire life as well. So I'm very happy. It makes I feel like I can give myself like a little gold star because I haven't run away from it. Yeah. And that tends to be what I do.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's true. I think that we've all had parasitical ones. I felt that way in my marriage. I felt like it was me doing all the work and carrying the load. And I wouldn't say that if he didn't know that. But I did feel like it was me that carried the load. And so a lot of like the traditional things that I do at home here, I'm so thankful to do them. I mean, Rick and I work and we both contribute financially. He contributes more than I do now. But the traditional woman's things, I choose to do those things. Like he doesn't ask me to do those. That's just I'm comfortable in that role.
Yeah. And when that's one of your love languages, it's good to be able to do that without any kind of judgment.
Right. And I like to do them and it makes me feel good. Mm-hmm. It's a love language. But on top of that, this is something people don't understand. I never got that with my ex-husband because I couldn't, because he never allowed me the time to be that extra person to him and do those things for him, because I was carrying all the weight he should have been carrying.
Oh, yeah.
So I was carrying the weight of being the maid breadwinner. I was carrying the weight of all the stuff around the house to be repaired and mowed. He just wasn't that, he was lazy. He would leave it all to me, and he was selfish with his time. And it was me carrying the weight of majority of the child, raising, the household duties. I was exhausted. And my cup wasn't being filled, and so now that I can do those things for Rick because he does his part, I am thankful that I get to do the part I want to do, and that he likes it. How awesome is it that actually is his love? The things I do for him is what he wants. And I saw something. I guess it was yesterday. I saw it, and someone said, listen, all I have to do is make sure that I feed him and I fuck him and he's happy. If I feed him and I fuck him, he's happy.
Two gold stars.
That simple. He's that simple a man. Feed him and fuck him. That's it. And you know what? Rick's that simple. He loves that. He loves it. He's a happy, happy man. And you know how great it is to have a simple man?
I love simple men.
There's actually the Pistol Annie song about a working man loving a blue-collar working man.
I tell you, they ain't nothing better.
It was my God. That's literally one of the lyrics from the song. Do you know that? I bet you. It's literally
that was not on purpose.
There ain't nothing better than loving a working man. I'm not kidding. But what I get from the relationship is that he fulfills me so that I have this time and I can enjoy doing it. And I truly enjoy doing it. I mean, yesterday I cleaned house all day and I cooked and I moved some stuff around. I started undecorating I took a poll among the kids. Are we decorating for Christmas? Are we going to keep the fall stuff up through Thanksgiving? And, we figured out what we were going to do. And we started working on it. And how great is it to just do wife shit?
Yeah.
I was pulling the weight for a long time. So even after my marriage, I had to pull the weight, living on my own for 15 years after my divorce. I haven't lived with a man in 15 years till he moved in. And it's a lot. I mean, I'm great.
It's a whole new world.
Great. I've proven myself. Everybody knows that I can handle a household on my own.
Yeah.
I did it. I proved myself as a strong, badass woman.
Yeah.
You know what? It's really nice to not have to do it.
Yeah.
It's really nice to not worry about, count every dollar you have. It's really nice to be able to know that, you know what, do you want steak for dinner? We got this. It's really nice that I don't ever worry about is the yard mowed or is the trash taken out. I don't remind them. I don't have to. And
it's just done, son.
Yes. And so those little things just kind of, it makes it where you can enjoy everything else.
Yeah.
And it
makes you want to put a ring on it.
Yeah. And not know to call him husband or whatever the fuck I am.
I don't know who you are, but I like it.
I'm saying that's my man. That's my man. He's simple. Feed him and fuck him. And keep the house clean. He really does like that a lot. But thankfully, I like it as well.
Yeah, it's a cherry on top.
He's so funny, though. Like, when he was gone last weekend, I always clean Sunday mornings unless I'm not home Sunday morning. And then I just I figure out a day to do it. I got to do it. I like to have a good base clean at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
And it's just me. That's what I do. My mom was the same way. And every time it's like freshly clean and it's all wonderful, Rick will come home and be like, looks good in here. Like he's like turned on or something. It looks good in here. Here's your dinner, honey.
My old lady was hard at work in here.
Look what you did. Look what you did. Focusing. So it's that simple. I don't know that
fuck me on this freshly clean floor.
Yeah, come on, over here. But,
like the kids outside.
All of them. They're like, Mom, we know. Bless their heart. But, the moral of the story is that it's not a parasitical relationship. I'm giving back what he's giving. And he's, and I don't even have to beg him. Because, there is nothing worse than having to beg a man to do what a man should do.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to. I'm at the point in my life, I will not.
And a man shouldn't have to beg a woman to do it.
Nope. That's true. It's just as true for me.
It goes both ways. It absolutely goes both ways.
Mutualism, the word of the day.
Yes. Yeah, mutualism. Is that a word? I don't even
know
if it's a word.
That's literally what it's called.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mutualism.
I looked it up.
Yeah. But then you have people that are in parasitical relationships. So, like, I had a friend that you know, they both worked and they both made decent money, whatever the case is. But she did all the child rearing. She did all child care. Like he never changed a diaper. He never fed the babies. He never got up in the middle of the night with the babies. And by the time that the kid was like 4 years old, they're divorced. She's fucking tired.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know what sucks and what's really tiring about doing all the work is doing all the work and then going to bed exhausted and the motherfucker that could have helped you being pissy because you won't fuck them. Well, guess why you're not fucking them?
Yeah, I'll just take a wild guess.
Because he already fucked you all day long and making you all the chores. You know?
You should be exhausted.
You are exhausted. It was just a different kind of fucking, you know? And so I just think, that's my example of one.
Yeah.
But also if you have to do all the mental weight.
Yep.
So if you're the person that's to carry the bills, you know, bills are mentally taxing. I'm not talking about even just paying them. You might not even be the one making all the money. But if you're the one that has to deal with, this is how much I owe, I got to pay it by this day, I got to
get it done. Or whatever.
Not all of us are built the same. And
Nope.
I'm going to tell you, I got PTSD from being a single mom. There were times I didn't know what I was going to do. I don't know how I always kept the lights on. I mean, I did, but there were some rough years, particularly when I wasn't getting any kind of support and I had kids in daycare and all that kind of stuff. And it was emotionally exhausting for me.
Yeah.
And so if you're making the other person do all that, especially if you have a stressful financial situation where it is a rough one, that's a lot. That's you're hurting that other person, whether you realize you're hurting. Just because they do it doesn't mean it's easy for them.
Yeah.
Some people paying bills, just doing the act of paying the bills is hard.
Yeah.
I will have the money in the bank and plenty of it and not pay the bill on time because of PTSD. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm afraid to look at my account. I know the money's there and it is there. I'm afraid to look at my account.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to look at that bill and see how big it is. It's so ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but I do it. I got a PTSD about it.
Oh.
And so again, that's another way that one person can be a parasitic because they know they don't want to do it. They never take into account that it's hard on the other one also.
Yeah.
So.
Very true. That's one of the things that I've helped Dante do that I've just learned over the years. It's easier for me to do it is pay things.
Because he's busy driving to and from work.
I do the act of writing out the check and
Yeah.
taking it to the bank and saying thank you, see you next month, and
Yep.
you know, or taking the check to the place, the sewage and water place, to go
Yeah.
pay that. Like those are two things that I have taken on that I do because I know it's easier for me to do it because I have the time to do it. He's at work right now,
Yeah.
so I'll go pay this bill for you.
Yes.
That's not hard
Yeah.
for me to do, and he has told me multiple times like how. Thank you, and how much that helps him out, and not having to rush to the bank or rush to, and I'm like, that's an easy thing for me to do. So of course I'm going to do that.
Well, it's also in like raising children.
Yeah.
So like when you're co-parenting, so you're not even married anymore, but you're co-parenting. And if every time you're co-parenting, you have to tell the other parent what's going on. Like you have to remind them,
Yeah.
you have to
Update them.
Yeah, oh, don't forget to play. Don't
Yeah.
forget to play at 5. Don't forget to play. Why are they not on the list that the school sends out? Why
know.
are you still raising your child's other parent? Why are you still letting them leech off of your energy? I don't believe you should have to do that. Now, I do think you should have to look out for the best thing of your child, and you need to make sure that your kid's not being ignored and not allowed, you know what I mean? But you should not have to keep their calendar like you're still married. You should not have to do that. And I think that and that's exhausting. You shouldn't have to, that you want to be part of their medical information, then okay, here's the appointment. I do have to tell you the appointment. I made the appointment for is there another day that's better for you? Do you want to take them to this one and I take them to the next one? Let's work this out so one person's not carrying all the weight.
Yeah.
Because again, it's draining. And you know what it ends up doing is it ends up being one parent using all their vacation time to take these kids, be present for the kids, be on the field trips, be at the doctor's appointments, be at the counselors for the school. One parent doing all that. They use all their vacation time that they get, if they get vacation time, doing that. And meanwhile, you get a vacation and you go to Mexico without your kids. Like, that's what happens. That's the reality of most co-parents. One of them puts all the work in, and then the other one goes without the kids or takes the kids and they're super parent.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the real super parent is at work because they used all their vacation time to show up. in their lives and be present, and you know, just showing up and being there.
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways that we could look at this.
There really is. That's why
Parent
this was
to
a good
child.
one. I thought that this was a good one.
Well, and parent to child.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we all know adults that parents suck it out of them and make their child, make them their life. And you have to do this for me and you have to do that. And vice versa. You have children that make their parents, you know, that are grown children, that are adult children of people that, you know, their kids, their parents still paying their shit and they're making sure that their shit gets paid for them. They're still, my brother, when he was alive, and he got divorced from his first wife, his biggest concern was who's going to pay my bills. And he didn't mean money-wise. He meant write the checks.
Yeah.
And he got my mom to do it, who had cancer at the time. Oh my God. Gets her to start writing the checks and shit, you know? And so mom, after so long, is like, dude, get someone else. This is taxing. So he marries someone else basically because he needs someone to do this. And he tells me that. I'm not making this up. He goes, I need someone to pay my bills. And I was like, no, you don't. You're a grown-ass man. Well, then can you do it? No, bitch. I'm a single mom with 2 jobs. No, unless you're paying me to do this. No, I won't do it.
Which you need to do to somebody else.
Yes. Anyway, yeah, don't be that person, y'all.
Don't do it.
God bless his soul.
All right. Mutualism. Look it up. Make it happen.
Yeah, let's work on this. Let's work on this.
It is now time for text from Zeta. So every week, Zeta sends me a text that's usually 1 or 2 words, and I know that that's something that she wants to talk about. I don't ask any questions. I just write them down. Here's what they are. First one is husband or what?
Okay, so Rick and I have been together for 13-ish years. We don't really keep up real good. We're within a year or 2 usually, but 13-ish years. Pretty sure it's 13-ish years.
All right, I'll take your word on it.
And anyway, so, you know, he was my boyfriend forever. So he's my boyfriend. That was a real easy one, right? That's my boyfriend. And then we got engaged, and he's my fiance. Mm-hmm. But I feel old saying fiance. When I tell someone it's my fiance, first off, I don't know when we're getting married. It could literally be 13 more years.
Yeah.
Neither one of us are like...
We literally took one step that took 13 years.
Right. We're kind of slow on these things is what I'm saying. And I wear my grandmother's wedding band and my stepmom wedding band like they, you know, she had my grandmother's. And I wear that with my engagement ring because that will be my wedding ring. But I'm not going to wait 10 years to wear this ring.
Yeah.
Like it's an important... I was wearing it before I got the engagement ring. Okay. So I just moved the engagement ring onto the same finger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, now we're engaged and I'm already wearing my wedding band basically. And so when I'm out in public or if I say something, everyone thinks I'm married. I look married.
Yeah.
You know. And we live as if we're married.
Yeah.
You know? So I catch myself where I'm like, it's too hard to explain. I'll accidentally say boyfriend sometimes.
Yeah.
But then sometimes he's my fiance. And then sometimes I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to say husband because I understand that it's just too much to explain. It makes more sense to say husband.
We're just going to encompass it all.
Yeah, when I'm at work and I'm, you know, and I'm talking to one of my customers, I'm like, oh yeah, my husband went hunting or whatever. It's just easier than like my fiance because then they're going to, oh, you got engaged?
Yeah.
I don't want to do all
that.
that.
It's a lot more questions.
I don't want to do all that, you know? Or they'll be like, that's been your fiance forever. When y'all getting married? Like comments. So
yeah, we don't need that.
But I feel like a liar when I say husband because he's not actually my husband.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me to say husband. It's been a long time. So then I'm like, oh, my old man.
The old
I keep testing new ways to say.
Just figure out what feels right.
I don't know what's right. I can't. Fiance is weird to me. It does not roll off my tongue.
Yeah.
It feels unnatural.
My betrothed.
It feels like he's my husband. He doesn't feel like my fiance. We're not planning a wedding. We're not even talking about a wedding. We don't really give a fuck about all that stuff.
We've got 13 years to plan it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And so I don't know. So it just and when he refers to me, he calls me his old lady. That's what he's always called me. And I don't remember him ever saying my girlfriend.
Yeah, that's just not a word for him, I guess.
No. And now, yes, if we've been at like a wedding or a funeral of somebody in his family and it's like a distant relative I don't really know, he will say, this is my girlfriend. Mm-hmm. That's when I've heard him saying it. But since we've been engaged, I don't really go around his family, so I don't really know how that rolls. And so I don't know. And so he refers me more of his old lady or his wife. That's how he sees it. And whenever I talk about us, he's like, I'm your husband, damn it. I'm your husband. You're my wife. I'm your husband. So that's really what he wants, you know. And so I just feel weird every time I answer. So every time I answer, it's a little different. And then I'm like, some people must just think I'm full of shit because I never know what to say I am.
That's true. That's true.
So if you hear me calling him any random thing, that's why. I don't know what he is.
Just go with it.
He's my partner. That feels weird too. That feel like that should be a woman if I have a partner. I mean, I know that's not true. Some people call their significant other partners.
Yeah.
But in my head, if I had a partner, it'd be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
I'm your partner.
You're my partner, right?
Okay.
So
glad we have
there
that.
you go. See, that's why that didn't work. So I'm like, anyways, I'm working on it, y'all. If I call them multiple things. So that was the first one.
All right. The next one is ice cubes.
So the other day when I was waiting on Al to record, and we record up at his restaurant and bar, and so I'm sitting at the bar, and it's early in the day. We record at like 4:00.
Yeah.
So like this is right after work for me. Other people are not off work. And I'm sitting there waiting on him, and I'm talking to Megan, the manager, bartender, all of the above. No, it wasn't Megan, it was Haley. And I'm talking to her about whatever. And there's another lady at the end of the bar that's older than me, probably by 10 years. And she's just doing her own thing. She's cute as could be, country girl. She's ordering her food and a drink, and she's just sitting there for whatever reason. She's at the bar for having a meal. And then in walks Tess and Shelly, so they're sitting behind us at their table they always sit at.
Yeah.
And so I'm just sitting there talking to her. I was eating carrots. I wasn't even drinking. I was having carrots and ranch. I was just hungry to hold me over while I was waiting to record. And so this lady comes in, and she starts talking. She clearly wants to talk. And Haley remembers what she drank. She had been in there the Monday before. Well, apparently she's going through a divorce.
Uh-oh.
And so she comes in, and she's like happy as could be because her ex-husband or soon-to-be ex-husband didn't show up. And so they had to sign stuff, and it meant that he didn't represent himself, and whatever is all included in this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so she's talking about it and everything, and she's now dating somebody else, and she's older than I am by just a few years. She's right around my age, and she's been with her husband for 20-something years, like 27 years, 28 years. They have a kid and all this stuff, and he's just not been real good to her, and he's never consistently worked. She's always been the income earner. She got cancer, and he wasn't real supportive when she was going through cancer.
Man, she gave you the whole scoop.
Yes, so when she's telling all of us.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's just all the women at the bar. There's no men in the bar, okay? And
it was a safe place.
Yes, and I was laughing at it. And also, all of us were older. Everybody in there was on average 48, 49, 50 years old. And so, except for the one lady that was older. And so it was these are my people here, And so she's talking about it, and she's talking about how her and the guy that she's now seeing they flew to somewhere up in New Jersey, New York, or whatever, and they go up there, and they go do fun things, whatever, and the hotel they're staying in doesn't have an ice maker in the room. You have to go out to get the ice.
Oh.
And no, it does have one in the room. You don't have to go out the ice. So he was like, yeah, here's the tray that it does. She was like, oh, I'll fill it up for us. So she fills up the ice tray, and then, they go to dinner, or they go do something, and they come back later, and he's going to make a drink. And the ice tray is like, there's hardly any water in it, so it didn't make very much ice. It's just little bitty tiny ice things. So he teases her about it, and he was like, hey, these are the tiniest little precious ice things ever. Like he gives her, he's joking with her. And she realizes that she goes into PTSD. Like her ex-husband is very mentally abusive and very, controlling and all this other stuff. And she's like, he would have yelled at me. He would have told me how stupid I was. He would have berated me. He would have just all this horribleness.
Oh my gosh.
And so she didn't say anything to him. She was just like
internalizing all that.
She was bracing for it.
Yeah.
And then so when he started joking, she thought this is what he says before.
Yeah.
And he
it's
never
about to get bad.
Yeah. It never got bad. So they go to dinner. She can't stop thinking about the ice in the trays and how different this is to her. So she sits down to eat with her significant other, and she's like, hey, thank you for not getting mad at me about the ice. And he was like, what do you mean? She was like, thank you for not getting mad at me. I mean, you could have gotten mad at me. He was like, what could I have gotten mad about? She was like, well, because I messed up the ice.
Yeah, I didn't do it right.
Right. And he's like, that's not what? Oh, my God. Like, that's what you've been dealing with? That's why you got divorced? Like, this is...
Obviously, yeah.
Yes.
You did the right thing, girl.
Yes. And I just thought, what a poetic...
Yeah.
like that she recognizes that's abuse. Now she's seeing things and realizing that's not normal.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're in the middle of that, that's normal.
Yeah.
She didn't even
'Cause you
realize
get
it
to
was
that
weird.
point.
It was weird
Yeah.
that it wasn't.
It's
a bad
little steps until you get to that point, and then you're like, oh my God, how did I not see that?
Right.
How did I not see that?
Yes.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there was more on her I would actually like to discuss, but I won't do it today
right.
because I don't want it to be as obvious it's about her. Because she said some other stuff, and it made me think other things. But that particular
That's really
thing,
good.
I thought it was pretty cool.
All right. So the last one is Lucy and Ethel.
Okay. Did I talk on the podcast? I know I told you, but did I talk on the podcast about the dream about you and I stealing the dress? Did we discuss that in person or on the podcast?
I remember you telling me that. I don't remember
sure
if
it
it
was
was
just us talking.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. So I won't go too into detail just in case it was on the podcast. But I had a dream about Kelly and I. I've been having this is a menopause thing, I think. I've been having crazy, weird, funny dreams, and I actually remember them, which is really weird for me. And so I had a dream that Kelly decided that we needed to steal a dress. And it was some very special dress. And it was like Grace Kelly wore it or something, special dress. And we had to get this dress, Princess Diana dress, right? Mm-hmm. And so you had found out that the mob had stolen it, and they had hidden it in somebody's house, and then somebody you knew's cousin stole it from that house, and then they gave it to the person you knew to hold.
Yeah. So now I know where it's at.
So now you know where it's at, and you're like one of the few people who know where it's at and everything. But they were kind of being messy about it. Like people were in and out of the home and stuff, and you had decided they wouldn't know who did it.
Yeah.
So you wanted us to go steal the dress, and you were going to send me in to get the dress. Or no, I was going to sidetrack them while you got the dress. That was what was going to happen, if I remember correctly. And so I'm like, I don't think this is a good idea. And you're like, no, it's worth a lot of money. And I want to wear it one time.
This is a great idea.
And you wanted to wear it one time.
This sounds so true.
And so I'm like, okay, I guess if you want to steal the dress, let's go steal the fucking dress, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
And so then you go in there to get the dress, and the dress is way poofier than you thought. So you have like duct tape, and you're trying to duct tape the dress under your clothes, but it's poofy. So then you just look like you have a fat suit on or something. It is a total I Love Lucy episode. And so we get out with the dress. It's silly. Anyway, so I'm telling Rick the dream around the time I told you about the dream, because I'm telling him how crazy my dreams are. And so I'm telling Rick the whole story, and then I'm done. I'm like, we sound just like Lucy and Ethel. And I didn't see this coming, but she was Lucy and I was Ethel. You were the one with the harebrained plan.
Threw a curveball.
You did.
You know what? I always have the best plans, okay? I just don't usually tell anybody about them because I figure they're maybe not the best.
I was totally Ethel, and I was like, okay, let's pretend like we're aliens invading Earth. Let's eat the chocolate. Let's do this. Let's get the job at the chocolate factory.
Well, I'm so glad that you were so ready to accept this plan.
Well, Rick afterwards was like, do not steal anything, Zeta. If Kelly wants to
Now
rob
I feel
a
like
bank, don't do it.
I can start telling you my ideas.
Well, clearly, though, he's Ricky.
Right.
I'm Ethel, but he's Ricky.
Right.
I don't know how this happened.
I don't know how we got here.
I don't know, but
I'm kind of happy about it.
That was my text. That was it. It was about I realized we were Lucy and Ethel, but I was in fact Ethel. I always thought I'd be Lucy, and I wasn't.
You never see those kind of things coming.
No,
man.
you don't
But that's
at all.
the point.
Yeah.
It keeps things interesting.
Yeah. So that's on my text.
All right, so this week I only have one social media shout out, but I wanted to make sure I get it in because it is for Ali Alamandares, and we are actually going to her wedding. And I'm so excited about this. So she had messaged us. Well, she tried to send us an invitation, but it got lost at Al's or in the mail or something because she had sent it to Al's.
Yeah.
So she sent me just in a message that we were invited to her. She had invited us to her wedding, and she had invited a lot of random people. I think she invited like Taylor Swift or something. Like a lot
of these famous people that have money that are actually famous, they send gifts and stuff.
Yeah. So I had told her, I was like, well, I'll check with Zeta, but like,
We'll come.
I would like to come actually. Like I've been
love weddings.
wanting to go to a wedding, and I haven't even got to go to one this year. And so Zeta said she was good for that day. And so we're going to her wedding, and I'm so excited.
We have fun at weddings.
Yes, we do. And this one is going to be a fun one. I can't wait to get dressed up. And one of the reasons like I love her even more is because I had asked her what her colors were because, to figure out what I was going to wear. And she's like, any dark fall colors will work. You can even wear black. And I'm like, you are a girl after my own heart. Okay.
There you go. And it's formal? Did you say it's formal?
Yes. So
Allie,
it's
can
gonna
I
be fun.
be Western formal? I want to be Western formal.
Okay, we'll
Let me
ask.
know.
All right. And so anyway, so she had said, hopefully we could meet up sometime before her wedding. I think her wedding's in November.
No, it's December.
It's December. Oh, it's in December.
23rd, I believe.
Yeah, it's in December. So she's wanting to meet up, before her wedding. And so I told her that we were doing the ladies' night on the square on
perfect.
Thursday. So she's going to try to make it out to that. So shout out to Allie. I hope you can make it. I hope your wedding's amazing. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be because I'm going to be there. So y'all are going to hear all about it.
Yeah, hopefully you have a DJ. Kelly likes to dance.
I do. I'm going to be busting a move out on the dance
She
floor.
does. She likes to get down.
Love
True
it.
story.
Love you, Allie.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for joining us. Maybe come back next week and bring a friend.
Yeah. And remember, there's always 3 sides to every story.
2 sides and the truth.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.